Hey Rangers, welcome to Super Important Views. My name's Steve, and today I'll be going over the Toys R Us exclusive Bandai Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Limited Black Edition Legacy Megazord. Again, this is a Toys R Us exclusive, so if you guys are interested in picking up this figure right here, you're gonna have to go pretty much hunting him down at Toys R Us, or you think there is a few of them available. He doesn't seem like he's that hard to find though. Like, I've already seen him at a few Toys R Us's already. So pretty much it's more of just checking down and kind of a waiting game to see if he shows up at your guys' local ones. And this guy was also available at San Diego Comic-Con, which is one of the reasons why I picked this figure up, because I do like me some limited edition action figures. And also thought he was just cool because he's like one unanimous color scheme, so he seemed like he'd be really sweet to combine with all the other Zords to make the Ultra Zord and have one nice uniform color between each of the parts, which personally I think sounds really sweet. Also, he just kind of looks like an evil Megazord, like something Lord Zed would have, you know? And just thought it'd be cool to have him displayed on the shelf next to the other Megazord, maybe have them combating or even just combine with the other guys and make the Ultra Zord and save on some space. But I won't know until after this review, so without further ado, for the packaging, looks sweet. Really love this black and gold color scheme they have going on the front here. Really helps to show off the figure on the front of the packaging. The Mighty Morphin Power Rangers at the top is actually kind of black and white with some yellows and reds there. Looks really sweet. Black and gold colored premium diecast, Toys R Us exclusive. Shows the faces of the Zords that combine into the Megazord. For the side of the packaging, you get a nice black and white image of all the Power Rangers on the bottom. Also gives you a bio for the story, which I'll let you guys read real quick. And for the other languages. For the other side of the package, it tells you the secret of the Power Zords, which again, let you guys read it real quick. And in the other languages as well. Please feel free to pause. And for the Megazord stats here, he's 333 feet tall, weighs 172,000 pounds, powers 50,000 megavolts, weapon, titanium power sword, laser emitting eyes, mammoth shield, power punch missiles, thunder cannons, and pterodactyl chest plate, which I don't really get how that's a weapon, but whatever. And for the bag of packages shows all the Zords, what they look like when they're fully combined. Also can turn into the tank mode, which we'll be going over. And also that if you have the Megazord, Dragozord, and Titanus, which I do, we're going to combine them into making the Ultra Zord. And then on the bottom, just Lego mumbo jumbo. So let's get this guy opened up out of his cardboard prison. Alright, so now that they're opened up out of their cardboard prison, first we're going to go over each of the individual Zords, starting with Mastodon, which overall looks really, really good. Very reminiscent of the TV show in overall sculpt and shape. And even in terms of the color scheme, is definitely the closest to the original, with it being primarily black, because, Black Ranger. But with the coloring here, he's primarily black, and then you get some gold here with the paint here on the tusk, and the gold on here for the stickers primarily. And then you also have the gold on the die-cast portion, which is the Megazord's arm, which is right here, popping off the head just so you can see it a little bit better. Right here is the die-cast for the figure, which is where he's going to get a lot of his weight from. And then you got really nothing on the heads here. But in terms of sculpt, the Mastodon face looks really good. Really love the red here for the eyes. And one thing that's also really awesome about this figure is that you don't have to apply any of the stickers. So all the stickers you see on here were pre-applied. You don't have to worry about it, which is really nice. But you get some more of the stickers right here for in between the eyes. Looks really good. Coming up the head here. Even on the crest here on the side of the shields for the face. Looks awesome as well. Has a really nice shine to it. It's just something that's a little bit different than what you got with the original Megazord. This guy's freaking shiny. Like, all the stickers have this nice glisten, and since it's primarily black and gold, like, he just has a lot of reflective properties. And even on the side here, you get a little bit of gold here. His little Mastodon feet. The tusk here, where you can see a little bit of empty plastic here on the sides, but overall it doesn't really bug me. Then the same here for the back too, is you can see when you're looking at the rear end, you can see the Megazord's fist, which is a little bit of a bummer, but it's the same problem we have with the original Megazord, so it's nothing to be expected. Like, I kind of imagine it was going to still have the same exact problems that one had. You can even see inside here too, where you see the die cast. So from the back end, this guy kind of looks a little bit poopy. But from pretty much the side, the top's kind of bites as well. Bottom's pretty good though. So pretty much from your normal front perspectives, he looks amazing. But once you start getting onto the rear, just, oh, and then grabbing the original Mastodon. But the sculpt literally is identical. The one thing that is the primary difference between the two is the coloring, which, again, that's why you bought this one, because it's all going to be unanimous between each of the figures. But on this guy, he's definitely the more colorful of the two on the original, and is also just very show accurate, with a lot of the colors being pretty much ripped out of the original TV show. You can even see here, exact same problems with the booty. So in between these two, I still think this guy actually personally looks a little cooler, because his coloring was a little bit bland compared to a lot of the other dinosaurs anyway, so if it's going to be bland, might as well at least be pretty looking. And next we have Pterodactyl, which actually looks really cool too. Again, made primarily black, gold. It's pretty much what you're going to be seeing with the rest of these. A little bit of reds in here and there. One thing to point out though on this guy is with some of the red, I kind of wish it was a little bit brighter, personally. Like here for the decal for the sticker, it's kind of bland, but on the eyes here, actually is pretty bright, which is actually nice to see on here. And I gotta say, this is definitely my least favorite out of all the swords, just because it's a really thin piece of plastic here, because this is pretty much just the chest plate for the Megazord. And then you got the cannons here, which are for the feet bits, which never was a big fan of. And also these are what are primarily missing on my original Megazord, which I have the Legacy ones, but I just never actually really take them out of the box, because I don't know how many people are actually going to be displaying it like this in your collection. Like, I just want Pterodactyl like the Pterodactyl, which actually, now getting these things to spread, they actually stand a little bit better. So if you're going to have them standing, make sure I have these things at a cockeyed angle. But for a little bit closer look at the detail, really like the head sculpt. Looks really good on this guy though. Again, has really nice red for the eyes here. You can see a little bit of gold here coming down the beak. Same with for the crest coming towards the back here. Really thin neck. And also to point out, the head here is where you get the die cast on this figure. The rest of this is just normal plastic. Wings, nothing really too much to talk about. Like in terms of coloring, it's there. Like he's definitely the more bland of all the Megazords in terms of overall look, and then grabbing the original one. Here is where you start to kind of miss the color scheme for the original Megazord, because the Pterodactyl for the original is very vibrant. Lots of awesome colors. You got the red, the yellow here, blue, some pink here for the beak. Same with the white paint job for the overall head sculpt. Looks awesome on this. Kind of bland, especially the gold here. Like it just doesn't show up quite as well as I would like it to be. Like on the package, looks very bright, very vibrant, which you get that here for the beak, but for the rest of the body, it just doesn't show off nearly as well as on the original Pterodactyl. So in terms of just being them individually, definitely like the original Pterodactyl better. And then we have the Triceratops, which is actually my favorite as a kid. Because I actually really like the Triceratops dinosaur. He's really cool. Also spins like a champ here. But in terms of the overall color scheme in here, actually looks really nice, very vibrant. Love all the gold here because it shows up very well here on the crest. Same with on the horns. Eyes are very nicely bright red. Decals definitely show off a little bit better on here where they're sitting right here for the treads. The tail is where you get the primary die cast on this thing here. A little bit closer look at him. Again, head sculpt is awesome on the Triceratops. You get the nice decal right here on the crest. It's nice two horns, which are just there's a little bit of softer plastic here, so you don't have to worry about breaking those things. Eyes look very nice. Size of the body look really good as well. Funny thing is too, is like this is probably the figure with the least articulation on him overall. Like he's pretty much, that's what you get. But I just love the details on this guy still, because he's pretty much just like a little mini tank. You even got the decal on the inside of here. Looks pretty good. Same with this Triceratops tail on the back here. A lot of, I guess you'd say the empty plastic syndrome on the die cast here, where it's a lot of hollowed out sections, but still doesn't look too bad. And then grabbing the original Triceratops. This is actually where I get kind of conflicted between the two, because they both look amazing in terms of sculpt. Like, I still really love the profile for the original one. Love the blue. The colors show off very nicely here. Like, you even have the Triceratops emblems here on the bottom here. And this nice white looks really good. Same with the Triceratops sculpt for the head. Actually shows off a little bit better on the original one, where you even have the sticker that you had to apply here on the crest here. But I still actually really like the black version too. Like, it looks really nice. And it's pretty comparable between the two, because like the only real difference is he just has the white here, and it just kind of replaces on this one for the gold. So in terms of these guys, I'm pretty much impartial between the two. Like, they both look awesome. And next we move on to the Saber-Tooth Tiger, which has the same color scheme, very black, very gold. Details look fantastic on here. Some more empty plastic syndrome here on the back of the tail, which this would be my, in terms of overall sculpt, my second least favorite of these Zords. But my favorite being, in terms of overall sculpt, Tyrannosaurus looks freaking awesome, which we'll get to next. But then Triceratops, Mastodon, this guy, and then Pterodactyl being the worst in my opinion. But still, the coloring on here looks really good. Again, you get that really nice shine to it with all the lights coming off them. Looks awesome. Even got some decals on the inside of here, which, yeah, again, didn't have to apply there because that was a pain in the butt to do in the original Legacy Megazord. And just give you guys a closer look at the head sculpt. Looks freaking awesome. That red looks super menacing on the Saber-Tooth, at least. And also there's a little bit of articulation here for the tusk, which is cool because you're supposed to flip these bad boys upright when it's in the feet mode. Also has a little bit of articulation here for the legs because these can actually shift a little bit. But if you're going to be wanting to have them stand, you need the front legs primarily towards the front. So the back legs are going to have to be pretty much like this, but they can move, but that's mainly for the transformation. But that sculpt, again, looks really nice. Kind of wish I maybe would have added a little bit gold here for the mouthpiece, though. It looked really good, because the way it sits right now, it's a little more bland than I would like it to be, but still looks good. Got some copyright information right there on this upper part of the shoulder. Then show you guys a little closer look at the back end. Looks really nice as well. You can see the tires right here for the tank. Feet don't look too bad. A little bit empty plastic syndrome, especially on the insides of the legs here on the back. And just like with the Triceratops, you primarily get the same kind of color scheme between the two, with it being very unanimous overall, where you get a lot of just the yellowing here for the body, some gray here for the legs. Funny thing is, too, is they actually have pretty much the same gold bits for the tail, which is actually pretty funny. And then, pretty much the only real main color difference you're getting is right here for the decals right here. Same on the inside of the original Saber-Tooth Tiger. Well, on him, I guess I should say her, but on this one, it's still actually kind of like how they did the coloring a little bit better overall, because I love how they did the gold here for the tires here. While on these ones, it's actually pretty bland. Like, this one's actually got a little bit of rims to it. And then just a little bit more of the gold kind of helps to show out the figure. Primarily, it's just mainly, like, I like how they colored in the mouth in the original one where they didn't really do that here. And that's pretty much the only thing leading me towards this direction. But I'd say in terms of coloring, I like this guy a little more. And then finally we have the Tyrannosaurus, which looks phenomenal as well, just like on the original one. Looks very show accurate. Love the color scheme for this, and mine's having a little bit of a hard time standing upright. Here, you can see a little scrunched right now, buddy. But the sculpt looks fantastic on this figure. Love the black and the gold here for the top of the crest. Eyes look very nice, very red, very vibrant. See on the inside of the mouth here too, where they painted the teeth gold. Looks really cool. Also can see the cannon bits on the inside, which is just this nice decal, but looks really good still. For the body, his T-Rex arms are very, very tiny. Can't really use them for combat purposes for the actual action figure. But still nice that they are actually a little bit articulated. Same with the mouth up here, can pretty much move up and down. Same with the lower part of the jaw is also on its own little hinge. Then just to show you guys the details for the back, get some of the vent panels here in this nice gold. Primarily die-cast part on this figure is right here on the thighs, which is actually probably definitely the heaviest of all the figures, because it just kind of gives a lot of back weight to it, which helps to keep it standing upright. But the stickers right here look really nice as well. Overall, the feet don't look too bad, but you kind of have these ugly little nubs sticking out from the kneecaps, but that's where the leg section's hooking into the Megazord, so it's kind of necessary evil. Tail looks really sweet as well. There's a lot of very nice coloring there as well. And again, just for the coloring, just really helps to kind of convey an overall very evil, menacing look. Like, I just really love the idea of this guy just being one of Lord Zedd's clone minions. And then bringing in the original Legacy Tyrannosaurus. Again, kind of unanimous colors between the two, where you get a lot of red, blacks, and silvers on the original, while on the new one, very black, very gold, and some reds here for the eyes, which this looks sweet. Like I want these guys to do battle right now. But overall, in terms of detail and coloring, there's not a whole lot difference between the two that really kind of helps to set them one apart from the other for me anyways, in terms of just being able to pick a favorite. Because overall, I think they both look awesome, and there's not really, again, something that's swaying me between the two. So I'm pretty much indecisive in between these two as well. And next, I will be showing you guys how to get these into tank form and then into the Megazord form, which we'll start with tank form, which is the only transformations I'm going to be going over for this review. For the rest of the reviews, when I start talking about the sections for each of the combined forms, like with Dragozord, White Tigazord, and the Ultrazord, I'll put up a little card because I pretty much went over those in each of those reviews. So if you guys haven't checked out this review, make sure to go check them out. Alright, so what you're going to want to do is make sure you have your Tyrannosaurus primarily just set up the legs scrunched in just a little bit. That's pretty much the only thing you really have to do with this form right here. And then for your saber-tooth tiger, what you're going to want to do is push the little legs out towards the front, flip up the teeth towards the top, and then you just bring up the legs here just so that the tire treads are forming so that it's not going to be grinding into anything. So you're more or less partially into the leg form, and also make sure they bring the tail up into the body. For the Triceratops, definitely the most simplest one, literally done. For the pterodactyl, all you gotta do is take the little legs off, which is, these are for our cannon bits. And then you just fold in the wings and arc his head down just a little bit because he's going to be hooking onto the back of the Tyrannosaurus. And then the most drastic one is for the Mastodon. You're going to want to take off the front plate for the shield here. Next, you're going to want to lift up the shoulder pads right here. Take your forearms, bend them straight. Keep the Mastodon legs sticking out because this is where the cannon bits peg into. And then I guess right now we'll just put in the cannons right into these peg holes right here on the bottom of the Mastodon's feet, which I can't remember if they're right set up right now, but we'll fix that in just a second. Then you take your arms, pop them out from the body, and then we're pretty much done with these for right now. And then starting with the Tyrannosaurus, we're going to want to take our saber-tooth tiger leg, put this on the outside on the right leg. And then what you want to do is there's a peg hole right here. You take the large peg, insert it into the peg hole. You already got one in. And we take our Triceratops, do the exact same thing. Now we're going to take our Mastodon upper body, which I realize that these are supposed to be facing upwards because this is going to be the upper part of the body. Then you just take it right here. You'll see that there's two little nubs here on the back of the Tyrannosaurus. Two nubs right here that they hook right into those. And you just slide it in. You'll hear a clicking sound. Shift your arms into the sides of the Tyrannosaurus right here as well. See that they click in very nicely. Because right here you got the nub, where the nub hooks into. All set. Then you just adjust the cannons appropriately to be facing in the front position. Then you take the Mastodon head. Right on the back here is where the handle is for the shield. You actually insert this peg right into the peg hole here on the chest of the T-Rex. Then you just slide it right in. And a little bit of a pain. There we go. Now we got the Mastodon head hooked to the front of the tank. Then you just spin them around. You're going to want to be primarily focusing on the legs back here for the Mastodon. You take your pterodactyl. You see there's these two little nubs on the sides here towards the chest area of the pterodactyl. And what you're going to want to do is you slide them into these top parts right here that kind of looks like that your Mastodon's foot's kind of had like a little bit of chunk torn out of it, because it doesn't look very pretty on mine. But you pretty much just pop it right in there. It actually stays in there pretty nice and secure. And then we have our tank form fully assembled, which looks super cool. Like, you're just ready to just rock up on Lord Zed's fortress and just mess up some day. Like, overall, with the color scheme, looks pretty cool. Again, like, this looks super menacing. Like, this guy is just ready to mess up the hero's day. Like, I just love how imposing this form really looks, especially when compared to the original. Because you can see with the original one here, definitely looks very show accurate. Like, I can't really take anything away from this one in terms of just bringing back all the nostalgia from my childhood. This guy looks freaking boss. Like, this guy is just exactly how I remember it. Just here to just rescue the day from Lord Zed and Rita. Well, this guy is here to make sure that that doesn't happen. But if I had to pick a hardcore winner between the two, I do love the more vibrant colors on this one, and again, kind of brings back the nostalgia, which is probably where most of this review is going to be leaning towards. Because when these things are combined, like, I love the unanimous color scheme for this, but then again, this also just has more show accurate representation. So personally, have to go with this one, but it's close. And next, we're going to transform this guy into the Megazord, which first, you're going to want to take the pterodactyl, pop it off the back, makes this a little bit easier. Next, you take the tail, you're going to want to unlock it from the body, and then click it right into this little slot right here. Right here, you'll see the nub that goes into it. You hear a little popping sound once you get it in there. Take the legs. You want to fold them down into the more normal leg positioning. Then you take the T-Rex legs, insert them a little bit more into the body on each side. Then you take the heads of the dinosaurs, flip them outright to make the feet. Same right here for the saber-tooth tiger. You want to take the saber-tooth tiger, also bring the feet forward, and right when it stops is where you know you did a good thing. Same with the other legs. Bring it right up to where it sits and rests. And we're going to stand this guy up real quick right now. Next, you're going to want to bring your arms towards the front. Take off the cannon bit nubs. Take your mastodon feet, bring them into the forearm. Then you just flatten it out. Again, do the same thing for this side. Makes life a whole lot easier if you want to move this part out. Bring it right back in. Stand this guy back up. Now we just fold the arms down. Next, you're going to want to take the mastodon head off the front part of the chest right here. Pretty easy to do. And now, we got to take this part right here on the front of the T-Rex body. You're going to bring that down, because this is where the T-Rex head is going to be going into the body. Then you just kind of adjust the head just so it kind of slides in there very nicely. Once you get it in there, it'll sit nice and flush and not be trying to flip this part up. Also, while you're at it, bring up the T-Rex little hands right here. Then you just bring the chest plate up, hooks right back into place. Then for the back part of the crest right here, just going to bring these guys forward. You'll hear them lock into place on the side of the face. Do the same thing for the other side. Next, we're going to take our pterodactyl. You're going to bring the wings out so that you can bring the head into rest inside of the body. To make sure it's nice and flush. Bring the wings back in. And then you'll see right here, there's two little nubs right here. They hook into right here on the chest piece, which is where the tips are for the mastodon. And you just line them up nicely, pop it in, hear a little bit of a popping sound. Now we got pretty much the entire Megazord assembled, except right here, you're going to want to take your cannon bits so that you don't lose them. And you just hook them right back into the mastodon feet on the back here, so that you don't lose them. And then it's just pretty much just adjusting stuff accordingly. And now that we have the Megazord fully assembled, he looks freaking boss. Again, looks eerie, evil, menacing, love it. Only thing I don't quite love in the full form is that a lot of the problems I have with some of the individual Zords kind of show up on here. Where with the pterodactyl being here on the chest plate, it's not very vibrant looking. Like the gold kind of blends in with the black here a little bit, which is a wee bit of a bummer. Same with the gold right here for the shoulder pads, kind of blends in. But for the pretty much the rest of it though, the gold shows off very, very well. Like bringing it in for a closer look. For the Megazord head, looks really awesome. Possibly would have liked to seen a little bit brighter of a red paint here for the eyes, but the gold does show off very well on the side of the crest here for the helmet. Same with the top part right here. Looks really good. Again, primarily for the body, would have liked to have seen a little bit of brighter gold used for the decals here, but the gold die cast on the arms here does show off very nicely. Shoulder pads, again, a little bit bland, kind of blends in with everything else, but still doesn't look all that bad. Even from the back end here, has the same kind of issues, but the gold does show off a little bit better here with the parts from the mastodon on the sides here. Same with the T-Rex tail, you get a little bit of the gold showing off here as well. And the funny thing is, it's where the feet is where you actually get a lot more of the gold showing off. And same with the lower portion of the legs, where right here you get the nice gold die cast from the tail bits here that insert into the legs. You even see the red here for the stickers. Gold shows off very nicely on the feet. Same with from the side angles, looks pretty good as well. Back's very bland, but the side angles look really nice. Which again, exact same mold as we got with the original Megazord, so it's gonna look awesome, especially if you have that version of the action figure. Literally the same thing, it's just Not quite as vibrant looking, which I'll get him in a second, but for some of the accessories, you get the Power Sword, which overall looks pretty good. It's this really bright gold plastic that they used here. One thing I kind of would have wished though is that they maybe would have done a little bit more color variation here on the inlays of the sword, because it's literally the same gold throughout you see with the rest of the blade here. Just been kind of nice to maybe see a little bit black on the inside here to give it a little bit more detail. But overall, looks good. And the funny thing to point out too is that unlike my original Megazord, the sword actually goes into the hand here very easily. Like, no problems whatsoever. Also comes out very easily. If you guys see my unboxing review where this thing kind of goes flying out of his hand, it pretty much that easy to do. Like, it stays in there pretty nicely overall. Like, I'm not really worried about this thing just kind of flopping out. But it is nice to see that they fixed that issue between the original Megazord where that thing was stupid stiff to get in there. And then what you call the other accessory is the Mastodon helmet, which again, if you want to put it into his hand, you just lift up the handle right here on the back of the head, insert it into his hand, and you have the Mastodon shield, which looks sweet as well. Works really well in comparison to the TV show. One thing is though is, I don't know why, it just seems like it probably should be a little bit bigger, because that's not really quite a shield in my opinion. But still looks good overall. And then to go over this guy's articulation real quick, because there isn't a whole lot here in terms of just posability wise anyways. But the arms can rotate all the way around, can not bend in and out, so you literally only could go forward and back. You only get a bend here at the forearms here. Nothing too exciting, it just goes side to side, so you kind of do the Hulk Hogan tummy crunch like, yeah. And for the legs, can move a little bit forward, not anywhere's back, so you can kind of get him like he's stepping a bit if you wanted. And then his knees can bend forward, but it looks really, really bad. And I guess he has a little bit of a pivot at the feet, if you want to call it that. So primarily, if you're going to be buying this action figure, it's not in terms of posability, it's in terms of details, looks, and die cast is what you're paying your money for right here. Because in terms of overall TV show look, the mold looks almost exactly like what I remember from the original TV show. It's just, this is like the cool evil Nemesis variants. And then grabbing the original one. Having them stand side by side to each other just looks awesome. Again, good Megazord, bad Megazord. Which right now is pretty much my primary selling point between the two. Because if you already have this version, this figure is sweet right now. Just to have this guy standing and maybe having finally an evil nemesis for these legacy line Megazords. So first we're going to go over the more obscured Megazord combination, which we have here is the White Tiger Zord using the Megazord parts, because this is kind of the make your own Zord kind of build with this guy, which overall I like to think of the top nub as kind of being like he has little cannons that you use with the Mastodon arms. So overall I think it looks pretty cool, and then you just use the legs from the Megazord with the Triceratops and Saber-tooth Tiger. And overall, I actually like this a lot better than the original combining with this guy, because unanimous color scheme works really good. Guns look kind of sweet on the shoulders. You can even rotate these to the side if you really wanted to. But in my original review, this is how I had it set up, which I gotta say, I like this way better than I did with the original Megazord, because it just kind of looked weird with all the different colors on this guy, and it just looks so much better with the new black version. And grabbing my little wheel here he is set up as the Dragon Megazord, which looks freaking awesome like this form. Like the gold just really helps to keep this figure just looking one nice unanimous color scheme, which is going to be the word of this video, unanimous. Unanimous. Which, love how the legs look on this guy. The shoulders right here for the Mastodon really help to go along with the rest of the gold that we have here for the Dragonzord mold. And again, just love how this gold just conveys very nicely here on the Dragonzord. And the same here with the feet as well. It just really helps to accentuate this figure a lot. And his little sphincter there too. And here we have him as the Mega Dragonzord, which the other one was the Dragonzord Battle Mode if you didn't actually know. But anyways, moving on to this guy. Again, looks amazing like this, because again, color scheme just works very well in favor of this figure, and my nubs are a little bit messed up on the back here. But looks really good overall. Like the color scheme just works really well again with the Megazord accessory, and really happy with this figure in terms of just combining with these guys so far. And since we got this guy in this form, might as well move on to the Ultrazord, which is where I fall in love with this figure, because it's just, again, universal color schemes really does wonders for the Megazord. Which, one thing to point out is when you have it in this form, again, just like with the original when I went over the Titanus review, is that that's a lot of diecast sitting on the top of that Megazord right there. Because you got all this from the Dragonzord, got the chest piece, these little gauntlets are sitting right here, all sitting on these plastic leg joints, which they give you these little like wedges to help hold them into place, and it stands pretty well overall, but if you're going to be moving this thing around a lot, and you can kind of see a little bit towards the back, right in there, you can already see that the legs are starting to billow a little bit forward. They seem to be holding in pretty well, but it's just, again, something I kind of worry about. And overall, it works really well in this form for me. Like, I like this a lot more personally than I do with the original Megazord. Just because the color scheme and everything just works really well with all these figures. And for some quick comparison, here is the Black Edition Legacy Megazord compared to the Legacy Dragonzord and Titanus. And here is with the Legacy Tigerzord. And here is with some X pluses with the Godzilla 1962 from King Kong vs. Godzilla, and Godzilla 1955 from Godzilla Raids Again. And here he is with my original Megazord, who is super dusty. And here he is with some of his new compatriots with the Legacy Lord Zed, the original Pudgy Pig action figure, and Stag Beetle. So overall with the Legacy Black Megazord, I actually really like this figure a lot. It really harkens back to the original action figure line and overall style and articulation, while also being a nice update to make it look more show accurate. Minus the color scheme, which, because of this figure is primarily black and gold, it doesn't really line up very well with the television show in terms of color scheme. And because of that, I have to give it a little bit more to the Legacy Megazord in terms of it's very show accurate in terms of color scheme and look. And that's primarily what people are going to want. But where I think this figure shines is if you have a lot of the other Legacy Zords, it looks phenomenal combined with all of them. Even worse in conjunction really well with the original Megazord and being like a nice villain or more evil personified version of the Megazord. So if you have a lot of the other Legacy Zords or want something that can nicely combat with your original Legacy Megazord, then I think this guy will really work for you. But if you want something that is very show accurate and you only want one Megazord, then I would personally go with the original one, especially since I know it's getting a re-release if it already hasn't, so it shouldn't be that hard to find. So what do you guys think? Do you guys have the Black Legacy Megazord? What combined form would you guys have this in? Or do you just prefer the OG? Please let us know in the comments. We'll have a closer picture of this guy on Facebook if you want to click the link in the description below. Help us defeat those kaijus by hitting that like button. Subscribe to become a Ranger today, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.